You guys are probably not going to believe it, but this Magnamon build is very unique and pretty spicy, which you probably have never seen before. Okay, so like I promised, BT13 Magnamon support did came, so time for an updated build, and it's a whole lot different from the last one that I made. So I'm gonna go through all the cards and explain it, but as always, Digi-Egg cards, 4 copies of Magnamon. Generally, this is still the better egg to have, just because we do play some Tamers to draw more cards with Magnamon. That's really what it's all about. This deck is not super heavy Tamer focused, but we still find this to be the best generic blue egg overall for most blue decks that play a blue base. And yeah, let's then jump into the rookies. 4 copies of the BT3 Jamming Vmon, just generic stuff. Jamming, you keep chipping them away. Just really good for the aggressive playstyle and early game stages when you want to, just make attacks with this guy. You just attack with it as much as you can. Just attack. Now, I've actually posted a lot of different kinds of Magnamon deck lists specifically on the Evolve Club membership already. So if you guys want to reference and check out all the other cool builds and all the things that we've been cooking up, definitely join the Evolve Club. You get a ton of value, not only just Magnamon deck lists and deck profiles and updates and whatnot. You get to see everything in my entire arsenal. All the deck profiles, all the deck lists. And then with the BT12 Vmon right here, one of the new best searchers too, just because it can grab you a Davis, it can grab your free archetype, potentially hitting 2 cards at the same time with this guy when you on play it is really nice. It does have an end of turn DNA, but we do not DNA in this deck anymore, so we're not going to be really utilizing that as much. Therefore, it's really all about the on play with this guy right there. And then for the next best searcher, 4 copies of the BT8 Vmon here. No inheritables, but it does again have the on play, searching you top 4, grabbing yourself a blue Digimon that is 2 colored. And by doing so, it helps you searches for your Magnamon. That's really what you're trying to go for, your Magnamon X, your Gold Digimon, and all that. It finds you everything you need. And really crucial, that's why, again, a card that you always want to be hard playing. Now, another really spicy, interesting one right here as a one of tech is to play this red Vmon from EX3. Again, with its on play, you trash 1 card with free in its traits, or Impudramon, but it's mainly going to be free, so that you can draw 2 cards. It does come in clutch. It is very nice to have every now and then, and its inheritable is giving you extra 2000 DP if you have a purple Digimon, but you don't really run that at all. Actually, you might, but we'll get into it later. Okay, so let's talk about our level 4s, and the best way to start off is to have our Magnamon and to talk about the BT13 one, new one specifically right here. Really nice inclusion because it can Digivolve for 3 on top of a Vmon, similar to the older Magnamon. It has Blocker, which is also similar. Now, it has a secondary effect of all turns. When this Digimon would leave the battle area, you get to draw 1 card, and you get to play a Vmon either from your hand or underneath its sources back on the board. It's kind of like Armor Purge, but it kind of isn't. But it gives you a little bit of floating. You can synergize and combo with your on-play effects to search even further, giving you a lot of consistency, which is actually really nice. But you don't really need to run 4 copies because it's not the main one you really want to see overall. And yeah, that's because the main one you do want to see actually still is the one from BT8. It's still one of the best ones out there just because, again, Digivolving for 3 costs on top of a Vmon. It does have Blocker as well. It has the Armor Purge, but it gives you the extra DP pubs that you need, which is really good in the late game stages if you want to build a really strong body blocker on the board, or even in the mid and early game stages. You can Digivolve this very effectively to make multiple swings because it can unsuspend with its when Digivolving. It gives a lot more value in particular compared to the newer one, which is why we mainly want to focus more on this Magnamon right here. Now, speaking of which, you guys may have heard that the Digimon Adventure 02 is getting a movie called The Beginning, which is coming really, really soon. And that's the entire series about the Digimon Adventure 02 series with all the Vmon line, the Wormmon line, new Imperial support, hopefully even new armor support. And we get to see some of that come back. And with that whole film coming out, probably means we're going to be getting new cards just like for BT6 in Double Diamond when we got Agumon and Gabumon. So I'm excited for that, and if you guys are just as excited and huge fans of this Digimon, you know what you gotta do. But continuing, we have 4 copies of Gold Digimon right here. We are playing a lot of the golden armor boys here. Now, with the inclusion of its from EX4, I did mention before that it's really good when it can Digivolve for 2 on top of Vmon. It has the Armor Purge as well, giving it extra armor-related synergy with the deck, which is nice. And mainly when Digivolving, it minuses 2000 DP to one of your opponent's Digimon, and then you get to stun something that is 6000 DP or less afterwards. So you can hold it down a little bit with this guy. Just really, really neat to see, and giving you that control aspect overall that you really need, and that's why I run the 4 of. And last but not least, Not an Armor Digimon, but we do play Lanamon. Hybrid just for game, just because we can make an extra cheeky swing when you want to. It's just always nice to have for sure. But that's it for level 4s. No level 5s as we move into our level 6s, and jumping straight in, we have Magnamon X Antibody right here. Magnamon X Antibody is still the core main boss Digimon that you want to get into as frequently as you can, just because it can redirect attacks. Being able to Digivolve for 4 costs only on top of Magnamon is really good to climb up the Digivolution stack. And that's actually really important because it can help you potentially climb into a level 7, which we'll showcase and talk about more later on. Also, being able to redirect to stop attacks, slow down the game pace, and with its protection ability of hiding in the security to prevent the stack from being deleted is really good to give you the floating, and the aggression synergizes really nicely because then you can make attacks, keeping your Digimon alive on board as much as you can, and yeah, basically take out your opponent's security fairly quickly. It's not all about control after all. And like I mentioned just now with level 7, being able to skip the level 5 process, go into level 6 helps you get into the Shine Greymon Ruin mode way quicker than any other deck out there. And by doing so, you can use this when Digivolving effect to clear boards, minus 5000 DP blanket overall, and then do a whole lot of control aspect to it if you ever need to do so. This is a really good game plan to counter against specific matchups and in this specific meta, which is why Ruin mode is just really good and really nice for this deck. And yeah, you're gonna give people a lot of hard time when you play this as much as you can. But that's it for all the Digimon. So let's go into our Tamers. Davis is still the memory tamer that you want to go to, being able to search. Now you don't really have green Digimon that you're playing in this deck, so you can't really grab multiple targets, but still being able to grab one blue target is always nice to have. And you do need a memory tamer overall, and you do want to see it as soon as possible in most stages of the game. But that's it for the Tamers. Let's talk about our options. 3 copies of Awakening of the Golden Knight. This lets you bridge Digivolve your Gold Digimon potentially into a Magnamon X. You can even Digivolve a Magnamon on top of a Magnamon. You can probably even do like a Magnamon X on top of Magnamon because it ignores Digivolution requirements. And being able to stack Magnamons, you can get very creative with this play as well. And the last nice little thing it gives you is DP reduction protection just for the one whole turn. And with a security effect, lets you grab Magnamons back from your trash to your hand so you can recycle them, and always maintaining a good flow of consistency of getting into your armors over and over again, so you can repeat your armor purge combos, make aggressive plays too, which has a lot of great applications. And speaking of, offense a little bit, Fire Rocket's still kind of nice. It's nice to have, that's like the red chili pepper spice of the deck, just for 1 cost, giving yourself extra security +1 just for the turn for that particular 2-color Digimon, so you can swing for checks multiple, and you can pretty much sometimes close games in a surprise, just like the good old-fashioned Armor Rush way. And speaking of the good old-fashioned Armor Rush way, Armor Texture is also still really good, letting you switch between nice tech cards so that you can change your armor and then make another swing if you need 2 of it. And yeah, just with the 0 cost is really great. And the security effect letting you play Vmon potentially is what it's really all there is. Now let's get into some memory boost stuff. We play 2 copies of the blue memory boost, and I actually have another one. We actually play 1 copy of yellow memory boost, and you guys might be really alarmed and crazy when asking, why are we playing this particular one right here? Why yellow memory boost to be exact? Now the whole reasoning behind it is because it can potentially search for your Shine Gray Ruin mode. And the whole idea behind it is because you play a lot of yellow Digimon, there's often enough chances in the mid stages of the game, it lets you search and you can play it via that, so that when you have that yellow Digimon on board, you fulfill it very easily. So it's kind of nice to have, and it actually has been working out very well for this particular deck, just because of needing to get into Shine Gray Ruin mode is kind of crucial for the game plan sometimes. Then this is some crazy stuff right here. 4 copies of Soul Ride. Just because it's mainly the meta call, it's very good to counter current meta, it's very good at taking rid of big stacks. That's one of this deck's biggest weakness. It focuses a lot of aggro on the lower levels, so it's not very strong against bigger stack decks that has blocker and stuff like that, but also mainly to counter the BT13 Shine Greymon deck, which the opponent can barrage you with a ton of Marcuses, slows it down greatly, and that's the whole reason why I'm playing 4 copies of Soul Ride. You guys don't necessarily have to do that. You can, decrease the amount by a little bit and play other cards if you ever really want to, but I gotta tell you guys, 4 Soul Rides is working very well like a charm in this current meta as well. And then for removal, we got 1 copy of the Full Moon Meter Impact. Just a really good one that I personally really like because of its potential capability of, gaining the memory back. So then you're actually effectively playing for a much lower cost than you initially do. And you just bounce anything that your opponent has, any Digimon that you want. So it's just always nice. And last but not least, Icewell right here just to round it all off, which is just a generic blue staple to have. Okay, other tech choices and card options. If you want to run a 5th egg, Upamon is always nice to have. It's kind of hard to meet its condition nowadays sometimes because not all decks really focus on hard playing stuff going wide. So it's, you know, matchup dependent. But if you do want a 5th egg, that's the best, second best 5th egg to recommend. Now, you guys may have noticed I did take in out the green package stuff in this particular build because I do focus a lot on the yellow and blue side of things now. But with the green and blue stuff, you guys still can play the Lightramon, Megadeth, and Davis Ken all together. The whole reason why I took this package out is because we don't really need the early game control from Lightramon as much anymore. It's not going to give us as much good value as it used to. Megadeth is great, but it isn't as good as it used to be as well either. And especially Davis and Ken is great for the late games, but games end so fast and you don't have enough opportunities to play your Tamers for free or effectively and as quickly. So these cards, in my opinion, actually slow down your game plan by quite a lot. And you don't really want to play it that slow. You still want to have that aggressive approach to swing faster and as quickly as you can, which I'll show you more in the combos and in the gameplay video coming up. So definitely stay tuned for that. But with that being said, you know, this is the whole reason why I didn't play these cards, but you can still add it in just because it has a lot of synergy with Chimeramon right here. If you do want to do the DNA combos, bridging into a level 5 and then continuing on from there and do your combos that way, it is nice to have against some certain matchups too. Speaking of which, Shakomon is the same idea. We're not really trying to prolong the game. You know, prolonging the game doesn't benefit the deck as much. We're trying to swing as much as we can. So the whole gear and the whole approach of the deck is shifted to be really aggressive. And if you want control, just let Shine Gray Rumo do it. So, but yeah, Shakomon, there you go. Really nice for recovery for sure. And then, as always, Hammer Spark is always a good one. You know, just a surprise element as a security bomb, potentially giving you more versatile plays if you want to gain a bit of memory and extend your turn a little bit is always great. And then I guess for removal, Heaven's Judgment is also just really great for this deck because you can utilize its maximum value in potentially minusing 6,000 DP to something like 3 times or across the board 3 times. And yeah, it's just always a nice one to have for sure, which has a lot of great synergy with this deck. Okay, Magnamon combos. So right here, when it comes to mulliganing, you want to really see searching cards. Again, with blue decks, what really is important is to search and draw. You know, seeing your rookies is really important. That's really all you need to do. Seeing a couple of your level 4s is nice, and that's, you know, a really ideal hand that you want to be going for. And of course, then other tech cards that you see as you go. But of course, then when you're trying to play, you want to hatch your egg and digivolve. So the one that you want to be digivolving the most is into this particular Vmon, which gives jamming, just because both these two other Vmons right here have on play to help you search for pieces. Really, really crucial. And if you ever do find the red spicy one right here, this one's also more ideal when it comes to on play. Well, you can't really digivolve it into your egg ever, but just because it has to be digivolved on top of a red or purple egg. So this one's always going to be hard play, so then you can draw cards and really go like that. Play your Davis, play your blue memory boost to search and find more cards, which is really important. As soon as you establish a Davis, you can immediately just move this one up, whether you have a level 4 armor to get into or not. You'll be beginning your turn with 3 memory. You can just immediately swing with the Vmon with jamming right here. Now for, you know, the classic outgoing like super aggro combo, you can digivolve immediately to go Digimon for 2 costs, minusing 2000 DP to something, stunning something 6k until the end of the turn, and then you can even combo it and follow up with a Fire Rocket right here, a 3 memory combo, immediately 2 checks just like that. And it's always nice to go on top of the jamming Vmon, just because if it ever gets deleted in security battle, you can armor purge right here, and then the second check will still go through as long as you don't run into some kind of crazy security bomb. And that's really just instant value and, you know, the aggression approach that you really want to have and complete and continue again and again. And otherwise, digivolving into the newer Magnamon right here to set up a blocker, passing the turn, and then so that you can float a little bit. If your opponent tries to attack you, you can block. If it ever gets threatened and leave the battle area, you get to draw one and replay one of these Vmons, which you're going to be hard playing the searching Vmons here so they can grab more pieces. Now, the nice thing with Magnamon, Gold Vidramon, and all these guys, whether the new one or the old one, they can digivolve on top of alternatively any Vmon. So even with this red Vmon, you can digivolve on top of it just like that, which is really, really nice. And anyways, continuing the combos, if you ever need to just juggle between which Magnamon you need to go to, that's how you would sort of continue and play just like that. You know, this one's also great, the BT8 one, just because it can unsuspend. So if you ever want to, you know, go away, chip the security, and then digivolve on top right here, and then, you know, starting your memory at 3, passing, not passing, but, you know, going to 0 and not passing turn just yet, you can unsuspend and make another check just like that. is really, really good. Now, when it comes to Magnamon X, one of the best things about this deck is really being able to just go straight into a level 6 by paying the 4 memory right here to go into Magnamon X, and right here you can stop any other early game aggro decks from attacking you by redirecting attacks over and over again with this combo here. And as long as Magnamon X has a armor form underneath it, then you're totally good to go just like that. The other thing to keep in mind is whenever you do Digivolve into Gold Digimon, make sure that you do have a blue Tamer in play or a armor form somewhere in the trash in order to sort of like fulfill the maximum value of its effect. Otherwise, yeah, continue to sort of like control the board a little bit here with your armor guys. And eventually, like I mentioned, this is why it's so good with this deck when it comes to pairing it up with Shine Greymon Ruin Mode. Right here, you can actually just go from 6 to 7. From level 3, 4, skipping the 5, 6 into 7 right here into Ruin Mode, and you can just control the board like crazy. Even by paying the 5 memory, you know, you can slow down your opponent's plays if you ever need to play defensive and control just like that. And then by doing so, you can, you know, do really, really crazy stuff, being able to go into Ruin Mode very, very easily and frequently. Just because you do play multiple Magnamon X's, you can get into this again in the next turn and repeat again and again. And you have a lot of draw power with Wanyamon. You had a lot of search power to continue and just chip away your opponent's security. And last but not least, the other cool thing is you can ever Digivolve into Gold Digimon right here. Let's just say you play Awakening the Golden Knight to go into Magnamon X, and then eventually you Digimon to Shine Greymon. You do get to utilize this in Hurdle, which is kind of neat because your turn while you have a purple Digimon in play, with Shine Greymon Ruin Mode is purple, so then it will gain extra 2000 DP, making it like 17, which is kind of nice to, you know, to have. Well, not, you know, not super necessary, but yeah, just a nice to have, like I mentioned. Anyways, with Awakening of the Golden Knight, you don't necessarily have to Digivolve into Magnamon X. You can turn your Magnamon into a Magnamon. You can turn your Gold Digimon into a Magnamon. You can even turn a Magnamon X into a Magnamon right here as well, if you ever want to continue like that. Like, so it's really neat, and you can play around with its flexibility just because, again, it can rack up a lot of DP with the Magnamon from BT8, and then you still have your Purge. So if you ever need to armor purge, it will come back into this. You can purge so many layers, and they have so many layers of protection with this particular deck, and the whole armor form traits in general really helps. And you know, if ever you need to control and sort of slow down the game a little bit more, Soul Rise is really great against certain matchups. It's great when it comes out in security because it's just absolutely free to, you know, deal with the big stack decks like I mentioned. Most of the Digimon that you're playing are relatively lower in DP. They're not really super strong. They don't really go up really high. Therefore, you know, dealing like with Machine Digimon, dealing with like War Greymon decks, Black War Greymon decks that stop you from attacking is really important. That's why you play Soul Rise as much as you can. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we have covered a range of different Magnamon styles and decks and deck lists and deck profiles on this channel, so you definitely want to check out all the different ones. This is the particular one right here for today. Definitely watch all the other ones right here as well. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about this spice we're cooking up. Gameplay video is going to be coming soon, so stay tuned for that as well. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video. This is Vault, signing out.